Here in a few, we are going to get to our Country Folk Americana category presentation, but first, this is a really cool award that has been added in the last handful of years, and it is the Local Legend Award. So this goes out to, you know, various people over the years that have been maybe in the industry that supports music, or, you know, like all kinds of different facets of the industry that are represented. But tonight we actually get to honor another musician as our local legend. Super excited. This one is someone who has contributed to our local music scene for many years. Some of you may know him, and if you don't, you're definitely going to get to know him, and you should definitely look him up after tonight, okay? At tonight's Local Legend Award, we are recognizing Merrell Fankhauser. Yeah, some of you know, I heard it. All right, so Merrell is arguably the biggest name in rock and roll to ever emerge from the Central Coast. And I want to get this story right, so I'm going to read it verbatim. Born in Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville, thank you. I'm from California, what do you want me to do? Born in Louisville, Kentucky. He took up the guitar after moving to California as a teenager, eventually joining local instrumental surf rock band The Impacts in 1961. Delphi Records released their classic Wipeout album in 1962. In 1967, UIP Records released Fankhauser's psychedelic folk rock album Fapper-Dockley. I know, you're like, what is that? So it basically represents a piece of each band member's name that was in his band at the time. Fapper-Dockley. And now a valuable collector's item. That album sells for something like $1,500 for a sealed copy. Yeah, look that up on Discogs. I'm not kidding. So then came Things by Merrell Fankhauser and HMS Bounty on UNI Records. Next came two albums by Merrell's group, MU, on ERA and RTV Records. 1971 then. Is it Moo? Thank you. Merrell's over here just like, get it right, Suze. Second album on United Artists Records in 1974. And then Merrell's solo record, Maui album, came out in 1976 on Maui Music Records. 1995, I mean, think of this timeline, right? We're talking 60s, we're talking 70s, we're talking, he has been around doing this thing for a while. 1995, Merrell joined forces with Spirit drummer Ed Cassidy and formed the Fankhauser Cassidy Band. And D-Town Records released their On the Blue Road album. Many Merrell solo albums followed. Just last month, on October 28th, Amazon released an anthology titled Going Round in My Mind, the Merrell Fankhauser Anthology, 1964 to 1979, which compiled many of his biggest songs, so that is something to collect. All told, he's written and released more than 400 songs over the last 60 years. I think you can see why we're going local legend with this guy. Since 2001, he's hosted Tiki Lounge, a music and interview program that airs on the Central Coast, Southern California, Hawaii, and parts of the East Coast. He is truly a living legend, an international treasure, who happens to call the Central Coast home. And we are so lucky to have him tonight on our stage. Ladies, gentlemen, theys, thems, Merrell Fankhauser.
That was from 1976, from my Maui album. And I actually got to sing one of those songs from that album to John Lennon at Harry Nelson's house. And it was amazing when I met John, and he loved my music, but I was so nervous. I'd never gotten nervous before in front of anybody, and my lips started twitching. But it was great, and I got to talk to him for about 15 minutes, and we talked about songwriting, and he said, the best songs are written when they just come to you. He said, I didn't write any of those songs in the Beatles. My muse gave them to me. And I said, my best songs are written in 15 minutes. And he said, mine too. And he called it automatic writing. And that stuck with me forever. And now, I can't believe it, I'm standing up here. 60 years ago, our band, The Impacts, was a house band at the Rose Garden Ballroom in Pismo. And it's now appropriately a surf shop. And I can't believe that it was that long ago. And people ask me, well, when did you record Wipeout? And I said, how old were you? And I said, oh, I was about 5. And they look at me. I was lying, of course. I was 17. And Delphi Records discovered us there and put out our Wipeout album that eventually sold 1 million copies. And it's still out there on CD. And I just can't thank Glenn Starkey enough for all the years that he's written reviews and about all of my releases. Now I have over 45 albums out, solo and with other groups, and a total of 138 releases because of compilations that I'm on. 1 Grammy nomination in 2011, and I'm going to be in a movie with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones next year, and it's a tribute to the piano player Nicky Hopkins, who played on John Lennon's Imagine. He played on the Rolling Stones records, the Beatles, Rod Stewart, and on my records too. And we did a concert together, and the movie is going to be called The Session Man. So look for that in theaters next year. So I'm still going. I have my Tiki Lounge TV show that's been on for 21 years that Susan just mentioned. And my radio show goes worldwide now on kyxz.org. And here I am. I'm an official geezer now, and I'm still going and still rocking. Thank you, New Times.
Congratulations, Merrell. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. And now you can add NTMA to your list of accolades. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Let's hear it one more time. Merrell Fankhauser from right here on the Central Coast. You never know who's your neighbor here on the Central Coast.